Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is LaughNgamez here. I'm back with another Starcraft 2 1 versus 1 bot AI cast. We have got ourselves one that I have no idea how it's gonna go, as it's gonna be Zozo, a Protoss bot that's shown some promise, taking on miniToss, a bot that's getting a lot of development. So here we are on the map Equilibrium, the AI edition. Two competitors that aren't in a ton of my videos, however, they've surely had a lot of thought and love put into them by their authors. So let's check it out and see how they do against each other. With it being a PvP, I'd say there's a decent chance we see some cannon shenanigans, if you will. So yeah, we'll see how that's gonna go, as we do have Zozo moving out, early probe scout, and actually really looking for proxies and whatnot. That's always a good sign for a bot. And going for a double gateway opening. And yeah, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into what could be a wild PvP, make sure to go ahead and hit that like button. Leave a comment down below saying more bots if you want to see more of these bots that are a little bit less covered. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Join the Discord, which is linked down below. And I believe that is that's everything. Now all we got to do is sit back and watch these two cannons complete. We do have miniToss throwing up lots and lots of cannons and pylons in its main base, just trying to be safe, I guess. I can only assume that it's going to go into like a Stargate or something. Is miniToss the toss that goes for Tempest? Oh, pardon me, that pylon is Zozo's. Okay. So miniToss is just shutting down Zozo's bit of a cheeky pylon there. I assume that pylon was just to mess with miniToss a bit, because we all know that sometimes bots overreact depending on how they're programmed. Now miniToss does have an absurd amount of cannons in its main base. 3 cannons in its main is a bit overkill, but I guess you got the minerals to spare if you're just one base stargating it, most likely, I assume. Do we see a Stargate? miniToss is like, nope, I need a battery before I build anything else. There's +1 air weapons starting. And yeah, Zozo behind this, just gonna be going for an expansion, so a more normal build versus a bot that is just gonna be doing its own thing, as miniToss should be very safe from most aggression with these cannons in its main base, whereas Zozo could have something coming its way, as of course it's delayed all its tech to get up that expansion. And yeah, no tech yet for Zozo, so we shall see. It's getting up a single shield battery, making multiple stalkers at a time, so getting lots of units up, and we do see miniToss go for its own nexus. A significant delay on it. That, of course, that's the trade-off when you go for a fast Stargate with fast +1 and 3 cannons in your main base. A Robo's on the way for Zozo. And yeah, I really have no idea which bot's going to win this. Like, with casting a lot of the bots, I can usually guess pretty early on in the game. Like, yeah, I'm like, okay, yeah, it's like, alright, Eris will probably win most of its games, and like, because I know I've watched enough of these bot games to know the flaws in a lot of the bots, so you can kind of be like, okay, well, this bot's going to have a hard time against this build, or like, for example, I can usually tell when one of Xena's cheeses is going to fail, depending on which bot it's going up against. But with these two, I have no idea. miniToss is going to be going for a fast Tempest play, which is bizarre. However, Zozo will have a lot of firepower and a much better economy behind this, but then miniToss just says, you know what's better than 1 expansion? 2 expansions. Having 2 Nexus building at the 4-minute mark is just ridiculous, but apparently that's how miniToss rolls. It has that Chrono Boost out on that first Nexus going into its Tempest, so maybe it just built the extra Nexus to be able to Chrono Boost out as many Tempest as possible. It isn't making any more probes, it's simply on 22 workers, so it actually does have 3 Nexus, but only 1 base saturation in the future. Zozo's going to be moving out with its Stalkers and a Prism, so it's going to be putting pressure on miniToss, and miniToss could be facing a lot of aggression here that it may not be able to stop. It's all going to depend on this Tempest micro. Tempest, of course, can kite Stalkers, but they're very soft. Stalkers deal lots of damage, and there's a chance that these Tempests could just die to this aggression. miniToss is still only on 22 probes, by the way. That Tempest has spotted the Stalkers, but we see it taking some damage. They also don't kill Stalkers too quickly. The Tempest is not pulling back, and it will just perish here. So Zozo off to a very good start with this aggression. We do have miniToss making another Tempest, but will it pull it back to the safety of its shield battery and cannons to support it? Probes are being pulled into the battle for miniToss, but it does not have the probes to lose there. This Tempest gonna shoot away on these Stalkers. It does kill off one, so it's already getting some damage done, trying to avenge its comrade. There's the second one going down, so it's doing well, and there is the potential for a snowball here if, like, we see, like, a few Tempests get out and they just get enough pickoffs. If this Nexus can be saved, that would be huge, and I think it will, with only 2 Stalkers being left. miniToss is trying to get out a lot of probes now here as well, so it's seemingly gone into a macro stage of its game. But 2 Tempests do pretty well against non-upgraded Blink Stalkers in this, non-upgraded Stalkers in this number, and so Zozo may need to readjust its strategy a little bit. This Immortal is coming in. It could potentially kill off this Nexus, as that Immortal packs a punch over, does just shoot a probe instead. Yeah, and it is just going to kill off some probes and then run on home, which running on home is probably the right decision here. And Zozo is a fairly simple bot in regards to the tech that it goes to. It never really expands much. Well, it does expand, but it never really gets, like, attack upgrades. It just makes Stalkers and attacks, if I recall. So the Tempest for miniToss could potentially just kite Zozo to death if Zozo doesn't adjust its unit pooling, or, I don't know, do something. But sending out Immortals and Stalkers in low numbers is not what you want against Tempest, as that Tempest number grows and grows for Zozo. For miniToss, pardon me. So miniToss's chaotic strategy seems to be paying off as it holds off that attack. Almost lost the Nexus, but now it's getting out some more workers for itself, so its production's gonna boom. Zozo has got a great economy behind this, so it can make a boatload of Stalkers, but if it just trickles them in like 3x3 against 4 Tempests, it will just lose units. And this is one of those comical bot things that we see all the time. Look, the Immortals are like angrily staring at the Tempest, as it will then be deleted, as some bots do not have the best unit pooling, and unfortunately Zozo is one of them. It's going to move out to attack once again. There's a chance that it could pull these Tempest back or get a bit of a backstab off. Maybe if it can find a lone Tempest, that could work out for it, as there is 3 Stalkers crossing the map. However, now Zozo is under pressure here as Tempests start deleting probes. One-shot KO on those probes. The battery heals up the Nexus, funnily enough. The battery dies, so it gets restarted. Will we see that happen a couple of times? Who knows? We do have these Stalkers engaging into 1 Tempest, but it does pull back, so the micro is good on it. A few more Stalkers come on out trying to drive these Tempests away. Zozo has still got a good economy. It's getting +1 on its army, which is good to see. However, I'm not sure it's going to live that long to utilize it, as the Tempest supply is 45 to 20 of the Stalkers. The resources lost 7,000 to 1,000 just about. And yeah, that is not too darn good for Zozo, as the Stalkers just continue to trickle on out, and apparently the Tempest works if you survive that long. I may have to check out some more miniToss games against, like, say, Benbot or something, bots that macro, just to see how well the Tempests do in general macro. But we are seeing just straight up aggression here from miniToss. Like, it didn't turtle the 200 Tempest. No, it got out a couple of Tempests and then decided to attack. It's got a pretty decent economy behind it. Not an amazing economy this game, but yeah, more than enough Tempest to finish off Zozo. And I think that that's going to be the end of this game, is just Zozo keeps trickling on out Stalkers. It's got nothing against 10 Tempest right now. Yeah, I don't think we're going to see a comeback there. The +1 attack helping these Tempests get lots of damage off too. An extra Stargate on the way. And Zozo loses a critical mining base. It tries to restart it again. However, that is not a safe location to do that, as in go the Stalkers, but it's not enough. You need Blink to fight Tempest. if you're gonna go ground against air at a minimum. And yeah, Zozo's one of those things. It's a simple bot that I'm sure works against a lot of bots a lot of the time, but when the games get a little bit more complicated like this, it just does not succeed. And so that's gonna be that. If you guys want to see more of miniToss's Tempest Rush, let me know. Leave a comment down below saying more bots. Like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Consider becoming a YouTube member if you do want to support this content, as we watch these Tempests just chip away Zozo. Tempests are one of those units that do require a very detailed response. A lot of finesse to deal with Tempest, and that's one of the more difficult things to program into a bot. So, yeah, that is going to be that, as Zozo will perish. Zozo's building another Nexus somewhere, although that got shut down, and miniToss does have the programming to look for the last bases, and it will find it. And there we go.